Does anyone else just seriously feel like something is off and something's like about to happen just with the current state of the world and like what's going on? Things don't seem to be getting any better at all. And I'm supposed to be asleep now and I just can't sleep. I keep having this feeling, and I've had it for a couple of weeks, that like something is just around the corner from really just changing how life is for everybody. And it's like a feeling that I can't shake. Everything just seems to be getting worse. There's like growing tensions between countries and people, and it just seems so hostile out there. But it really just does feel like since 2020, like the world has not been the same at all, and something has changed. And with our current climate, it does just genuinely feel like there is a sense of unease amongst, the entire population of people. Everyone seems to be just very restless. And I spoke about this in my last video, that people seem to be just in survival mode. And even then, like, we're not surviving really. Like, everyone's just struggling, and there's just a growing sense of tension amongst everybody and the world and the countries in general. And I don't know how you guys are feeling, but like, it's been affecting me lately a lot. And I'm usually asleep. It's actually 11:45 p.m. in Australia right now, and I'm usually asleep by now. And like, I don't know if it's just the constant um barrage of terrible news that is flooding social media, but it just genuinely feels like we are on the precipice of some truly just timeline changing thing. And I don't know what that looks like. And I think that's the scariest part, is the not knowing where it's going to come from exactly and what it's going to look like. Now, having said that, there is still good in the world, I believe. It's just, it's getting harder and harder to see. And I think with the way social media is, with being able to just push, um, you know, bad news every day, which obviously that's what gets clicks, otherwise they wouldn't be doing it. I think it's just changing the way that people view the world. And I think a lot of people, if you talk to them, they just tell you that they don't have really much hope for the future, and the same enthusiasms that they like once shared. Me being one of those people as well. And it does like genuinely just feel like we are on the verge of World War III, just because of all the current fighting and stuff, and headlines that are just, like I said, flooding just social media, that countries are fighting each other. And yeah, it just seems to just be forever ongoing and spiraling into worse and worse conflicts. And like I've said before, as time's gone on, I just find myself staying inside my house more often than usual. Like, I really just don't go out at all really anymore as much as I used to. And I really only go out for like stuff that is completely like necessary. Like, if I have to get certain food or stuff like that, then yeah. But apart from that, you can always just find me indoors. And yeah, I was never really like that in the past. I was always a very social person, but I just think the way people are these days, it's just very hard to engage with them, because a lot of people are so angry these days. And as I've said before, I do sympathize with that, because everybody is in survival mode. But like, really just keeping my interactions with people small, not getting involved with other people's dramas and stuff like that, which a lot of people seem to have a lot of dramas. And we all have our own problems, but I barely have enough mental energy these days. And it seems to be a shared feeling amongst people that they just don't have a lot of energy these days to deal with a lot of stuff that's going on. And I completely 100% understand that. But I feel like there is something else brewing underneath the surface in 2026, and I don't know where it's coming from. I'm looking at news daily that we're looking at potential food shortages or food supply issues. you know Countries are running out of water, looking at potential energy lockdowns or energy crises where there's going to be blackouts and stuff. And then you combine that with the ever growing threat of conflict and war and stuff, and it starts to get really overwhelming. And I don't think us humans were ever really designed to absorb so much information at once, especially information that's very negative all the time. And I think, a lot of social media is just by design going to push certain negative stuff just because it does get clicks, it does get people talking. And from a business standpoint, I completely understand that. But like what it does to the human population in general is just, yeah. I don't think a lot of people have a lot of positive outlook on life anymore as they once did. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm still certain that it does exist, that there still is good in the world. I'll always believe that, but it's getting harder and harder to see it and sift through it. And if you guys feel the same way as me, let me know in the comments. Just let me know what you're feeling. Let me know if you're going through anything. Let me know your views on the current situation of the world and where you think it's heading. But it doesn't seem like we're on a really good sustainable path for a good future. And I know a lot of people always say you need to be positive about the future and optimistic, and you know I'm sure that that works to an extent, but the reality is that the moment that you step outside your house, the world has definitely changed in the last 6 years. And I think COVID did definitely break a lot of people. I think 2020 did break the people of the world in ways that I don't think we truly understand just yet. Um, it made people really kind of distrust each other. And, I remember seeing videos of people going to the supermarkets and fighting each other over toilet paper and stuff like that. Like it was a crazy time. And, it was 6 years ago, and yet it only feels like last year that it happened. And that's another thing. Time just feels like it is just completely flying, and that it's getting faster as time goes on. Like it just seems like a week's like a day now. Like you blink and a week's gone already. It's just crazy. And I know there's some conspiracy theories around the time feeling quicker and stuff, and maybe we can take a look at that as another video we can do something on. But genuinely just feel a sense of unease, and that like we are reaching a critical point in civilization where there's just so much conflict. It's that like it's just it has to reach like a breaking point eventually, because something has to give eventually. And I genuinely just feel scared for the future of humanity. Like it'd be nice if everybody in every other country could get along, but we got to be real. Like that's never going to be a thing. And I just want to I just want to stay home and play my video games and eat good food and stuff like that, and just exist in like my own little bubble. And a lot of people do feel the same. They just don't have the energy to deal with things anymore. And but yeah, I don't know, guys. It's just I do think something is coming. I don't know what, but there is something boiling under the surface, and I do feel like it's going to boil over eventually. The problem is that I don't know what it's going to look like when it does. And you combine that with the cost of living, and like we're just really in strange times. If the aliens decided to land in my front yard tomorrow, I probably wouldn't be surprised. Like life seems to just be getting crazier and crazier as time goes on, and everything just seems like a circus these days, and it doesn't seem to be getting any better. But I hope so. I hope it does get better. I really do, because I don't think it's sustainable that things can just keep going on like this. Like it must be having an impact on people's mentality that isn't really known about yet. Like all this social media and all this stuff, and the way that it's just you know favors just negative headlines, must be having a very very hidden toll on the population. It's just nobody knows it yet. And it's no coincidence that anxiety is on the rise. It's like this is the time in history where people have been the most anxious. People are depressed. People are not optimistic for the future. And the thing is that you can't really blame them when you take a look around and you know, just have a look around what's going on. It's very hard to be optimistic about anything really. And so I completely understand why people want to stay inside these days and limit their interactions with people. Like people just in general just seem very, very hostile. And that kind of makes me sad because, you know, nothing makes me more happy than talking with people and sharing stories and having a laugh. And it's just rare these days that if you can get that anymore. And if you do, if you still get that, just really cherish that. I guess that would be my advice. Like, just cherish that, cherish those little moments you get with the resemblance of humanity, because it just seems like it's fading. But we are living in strange times in 2026, and it just feels like something is just boiling underneath the surface. And yeah, really just feels like something is boiling underneath the surface. Or maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I really do hope I'm wrong. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Let me know your experience. Let me know what you seem to think when you go outside and you see these things. What's your opinion? And with that being said, guys, take care of yourselves. I love you all, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.